Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Africa, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. America, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze.
You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan Okelo, live from Seattle, Washington, USA.
Thank you so much for joining me for an incredible session of the Daily African Proverbs. My name is Simon Javan Okelo. I am in Seattle, Washington, and I am so privileged to be here with you. Today we have an amazing African proverb all the way from Nigeria, and that's going to be the center of our conversation today. I hope you're all doing well. Let me know in the comments where in the world you are joining us from. This is an incredible conversation that I host every day from Monday to Friday at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And my main motivation is to make our ancestors proud and to bring new African proverbs to the world every single Monday to Friday morning. And the idea is that after we have these beautiful conversations, we live with more knowledge about African proverbs. And so our proverb today is really, really incredible. And I'm just setting up so that we are all ready for today's conversation that is going to be really, really rich. The proverb we have today is from Nigeria. And it says that the same sun that melts the wax is also capable of hardening clay. The same sun that melts the wax is also capable of hardening clay, So our entire conversation is going to be built around this exciting Nigerian proverb. And I also have 3 takeaways for you. But I want to ask you to remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you've already subscribed, give this video a thumbs up so that, whenever we are live in the future, YouTube can notify you. And if you're joining us on the Clubhouse side of things, because we are bringing you this program on 2 different platforms, on Clubhouse and also on YouTube. I have shared the link to the live stream of this conversation at the top of the Clubhouse room. So if you can, please join me over there. What I'm doing now is to ping in a few friends and family to join us as well for this conversation. On Clubhouse, there's a way you can invite people to join you for a conversation that you value and you want them to be a part of. So that's what I'm doing as we speak. I hope you're all doing well. When you look at this incredible Nigerian proverb, we see that, it speaks to the power of the sun. This old Nigerian proverb, the same sun that melts wax is also capable of hardening clay. Speaks to the power of the sun, and it says that the sun has the ability to create and also has the ability to destroy. These are going to be our 3 takeaways from today's conversation. We are going to deepen it even further, but our topic really is, today's topic is, an attempt to really take us behind the wisdom behind African proverbs. When you look at this proverb, it's really, really powerful, and the words don't do it justice. But when you think about the purpose of African proverbs and why African ancestors, wrote these words, said these words, they were documented in different ways, and now we are bringing them back to you in podcast format, and also in a conversational format, where, similar to how long time ago in many parts of Africa, people used to gather after dinner and discuss stories and learn new proverbs and gain some wisdom and figure out wise ways of solving problems, wise ways of living together. That's really what we want to rekindle through these conversations. So here are the 3 takeaways that I want to share. Before I do that, I want to invite everyone who is on Clubhouse, from Abi, Kami, Akanji, Sahara, join me on the stage, and also ping in 3 to 5 people from your own network to join us for today's conversation. Feel free to share the link to this conversation so that we can all gain some wisdom together today. So these are the 3 takeaways from our conversation today that I want you to note down as we are just beginning to build the momentum for our conversation today. Number 1, the first takeaway from this incredible Nigerian proverb is that the sun is a powerful force that can be used for good or bad. It's your choice. And the second one says that just as the sun can melt wax, it can also harden clay. And then the third one says that what goes around comes around. You will eventually get what you give. And when you think about the sun, for me, when I was also looking at this from a very personal perspective, this proverb, again, it says the same sun that melts wax is also capable of hardening clay. So when I was looking at this proverb myself, it reminded me of us. Each one of us is also the sun. Each one of us also represents the sun in a way. And we ourselves, we know it in our hearts that we have the ability to do great, but at the same time, we also have the ability to do bad things, evil things, destructive things, So this proverb directly speaks to each one of us as individuals, whether we are children or adults or teenagers, each one of us, even me as a father of 3 little girls, I remember very clearly sometime my youngest, who is about 3 years old, sometimes she's just the sweetest, but sometime, she's like the craziest, she's just focused on being mean, but sometimes she's the sweetest, So all of us have 2 sides. That's what this proverb is reminding us about. But it also reminds us that we have the power. We are so powerful, We have the power to destroy everything around us completely. But we also have the power to create, to create something new that has never existed before. We have the power to have a vision and bring that vision into life and transform many, millions of lives just through one single idea. So those are some of the ways that I want to open our conversation today. And remember, this is really like the village fire. This conversation cannot be complete without your contribution. So if you're watching this on YouTube, leave your comment. Let me know where you're joining us from and also what this proverb means to you. If you're joining us on Clubhouse, I highly encourage you to join us on the stage so that we can hear what you also have to say about this incredible Nigerian proverb. Again, the proverb says, the sun that melts wax is also capable of hardening clay. Today's conversation is being recorded for the African Father in America podcast, which is available across all podcasting platforms. And I see that my brother Rushi is with me on the stage. Thank you. And Crystal is also with me on the stage. Thank you so much. And I want to recognize the presence of Happy. Happy, it's nice to see you, my brother. Happily peaceful. And I love the picture that you're using on your profile now with such that big smile. Happily is literally one of the people that helped create this space, this daily African proverb space. He was one of the first people that every day, for months and months and months, he would show up and he would help build this. experience that you're enjoying today. So I can't wait to hear from you in just a moment, happily. But I want to open the space by, passing the microphone to Rushi so that we can hear just briefly, when you think about this proverb from Nigeria, Brother Rushi, what is it that comes to your mind? The same sun that melts wax also is capable of hardening clay.
Hey, Simon. Yes. Thank you. This is a very powerful proverb. The sun is something I think of so much all the time. I always mention the sun, especially being here in Seattle, where the winters and falls are very harsh. You know, it's a very dark time here literally in winter time where you get barely any sunlight. Um, but what I think of when I hear this proverb is, I also agree with you what you were saying. This is the power of self. I think of I also think a lot about my ancestors with this proverb, to be honest with you. I remember I used to have a government job back in Charleston, South Carolina. I used to work at the historic courthouse. And right near the courthouse, there's this street called Chalmers Street. And on Chalmers Street, it's a street that it's a cobblestone street that was built by slaves a long time ago. And I used to walk on this, and when summer times in Charleston it's very, very hot in Charleston in the summertime. Usually it's over 90 degrees, and usually the heat index is over 100. So usually out in Charleston, I think of this proverb because, the sun, you feel like melting wax in the summertime in the South. And the only way for you to really get any relief is for you to, find some shade, get inside, so you can kind of rebuild yourself. I think of my ancestors when they're all this hard work they have done, and how bearing it must have been to build a street by hand with stones, how bearing that work must have been. And, the outcome is a very beautiful street, but, it's a very bumpy street as well. So a lot of people always complain about how rough the road is, how rough that road is when you're trying to drive down it, or if you're trying to walk across it, it's very hard. But a lot of people don't think about the struggle of building that road, and what my ancestors had to go through to get that road built. So I think of that. That comes to my mind when I hear this proverb, because the sun, the crazy thing is we all get to see how beautiful the sun is. It doesn't matter where you live. I mean, if I'm in Charleston or if I'm in Seattle, I can look up and see the sun. If you're in Kenya, Tanzania, wherever, you can look up and see the sun. And it can bring different things to you. It can bring a sense of joy, a sense of relief, or a sense of exhaustion. It just depends on how you're interacting with that. So it speaks a lot about the power we have within ourselves to make a choice, a determination of how we want to determine the things that give us power in our life. Because that's what it represents. It represents that power we have of ourselves, of having ideas. Wherever that power is, we can choose to either make it a positive experience or make it a grueling experience. So I think that's what comes to my mind when I hear this proverb. Thank you.
Yeah, that's incredible, Rushi. I love that. I love how you brought our ancestors into it, and also how you spoke about the blood, sweat, and tears, and the results of it. And also how you spoke about energy. The sun represents energy, and we are also a source of energy similar to the sun. But it also just depends on how where are you directing your energy. What are you trying to ask your energy to do, to transform? Because energy transforms things, right?
Right. Yes, exactly. I agree. It's all about your energy. How do we want to use the energy that we have within us? It's about the choice I make. Because sometimes especially with the sun. I know I can see it in myself, especially living in Seattle. It's like in the winter times where there's less sun, I tend to do things that, you know, I would not do. In summer times, I drink a lot of water. I feel very rehydrated, a lot of energy. In winter times with just less sun, sometimes my actions are a little bit less um, enlightening, I should say. So yes, it's all about how you choose to use your energy, the choice you make.
Yeah, and as you are speaking, also something that came to my mind was how much how much the power that we have is actually elicited or expressed through our tongue, our mouth. Like what you say, there are certain things that after you say them, they exhaust you yourself. You feel like you've been spent, and
Yeah,
this really reminds me of this proverb as well as the entire conversation we're having today.
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Rushi, for your incredible contributions, and I want to welcome all of you to the Daily African Proverbs. This is the main show that we are always doing here for the African Father in America podcast. We have a couple of other shows that we are now producing. For example, every Wednesday we have Travel in Africa, which happens at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we have that here on Clubhouse. We are now beginning to record it for the podcast, and soon we are going to have it on video as we've had this Daily African Proverbs on both audio and video for a long time. Another show is around the environmental protection. It's called Trees Are Medicine. It's also about natural healing, and so it's the show where environmentalists collide with herbalists and people who understand nature and the power of how nature heals. So if you want to join that show, it's actually today at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Join us for that one as well. I've been trying to develop other people who can host similar shows, and so if you come to those two other shows, I will not be hosting, but I will be there just doing more of a mentoring role. But now I want to welcome Crystal, another incredible supporter of this space, who has always, sometime I remember just being on the stage with Crystal, and maybe people trickle in later on, but Crystal has just been a steadfast supporter, and I just wanted to recognize you and give you the microphone so that you also share your words of wisdom in regards to today's proverb from Nigeria. For the sake of those who haven't heard it, it says, the same sun that melts wax is also capable of hardening clay. Let us know what you think about this proverb, Crystal.
Hi, this is Crystal speaking. Good morning, everyone, or hello to wherever you are at. Simon, thank you so much for always providing and serving a Clubhouse community with a warm space to get started every morning. You always offer a space for reflective thoughts and for us to all come bring our offerings and pour into each other. It's just a very warm space, and it's nice to see that in my hallway consistently every morning. But yes, the same sun that melts wax is also capable of hardening clay. And I don't know, this month a lot about community and what does community mean to me in a way that we show up for each other. Because here in the States, we have this very individualistic way of, we practice individualism in the sense that we could be seeing other children in the streets. We don't know our neighbors. It is very cold. It's very cold. It kind of reminds me of when we think about European ancestry and the ice caves that they used to live in, and how much we've adopted that way of life here in the States. And that's not us. That isn't natural to us. That isn't natural to me, to be so cold and detached from the community and particularly Black folks that are around me. And I connect that with the sun. I think about our ecosystem, and if we saw elements of our ecosystem check out and say, I'm beyond capacity. I don't have it today to shine, and how much of our ecosystem would die or fail because the sun isn't participating or providing its power to the world that we need. The sun offers us so much support, not just us, but other forms of life. And we are all an ecosystem, I think. And I also just recently came back from South Africa, and I visited a neighborhood. It's still a township. They've been generationally displaced since apartheid. And I think about the care that they show each other, living in conditions that a lot of us here in the States, it's beyond what we have probably ever seen before, as far as like lack of resources and accessibility. And they have this resilience, and the way that they show up for each other is something that the Americans that when I have conversations about care and community, we talk about it being beyond our capacities. Like I don't have capacity to show up for someone. I'm in survival mode. And I do think that is a scarcity mindset. And what's grounding is looking at the elements of the earth. When I think of the trees, when I think of the sun, they have an endless capacity to show up every day and fulfill their purpose and to do what they are here to do. And operating out of this like survivalist scarcity mindset has us thinking that I'm sorry, I just had to ignore a call. I hope I can be heard. But has us thinking that taking me providing care or attention in a certain area is going to take away from my needs. And the sun never does that. The sun can melt wax. The sun can harden clay. The sun the sun is constantly providing light, heat to everything around us, to so many different planets. It never gets tired. It never gets tired of shining. So, yeah, that's what that makes me think of, and I'm done speaking.
Thank you, Crystal. I deeply appreciate your contribution, and also how you've shared with us your experience in South Africa. And there's so many things that when you're in America and when you're surrounded with abundance, you forget what's going on around you, and one day, if it's taken away from you, is when you realize that other people have been living in that world that has just been unveiled to you their whole life. For example, if you think about what just happened in Sri Lanka, I wonder if you all saw the videos of protesters, people who are from the slums, the ghettos of Sri Lanka. They made their way into the palace, and they were swimming in the nicest swimming pool in their country. They were working out in the presidential gym, and people were so excited, because they were seeing something that they had never seen before. But the president and his family were now in hiding, They were also seeing something that they had never seen before. So really, this proverb speaks to a lot that is going on in the world right now. And Crystal, thank you again. I want to hear from you, Happily Peaceful, my brother, from another mother. How are you, and what's been going on for you? And also just speak to, what you think about this space compared to when we started it, and then speak to this proverb. Take your time. I just want you to take your time and talk to us.
Thank you very much, Simon. Hopefully you can hear me. Everyone can hear me. Yeah, what do I think of this place? I don't think I've ever told you, Simon. I don't know if I can tell you now, in front of everyone, but you're someone who actually motivates me, yeah, and inspires me a lot. When I think of discipline and consistency, you know, I think that's something that in the dictionary they should put a picture of Simon, discipline and consistency. I have seen you put your labor of love and passion in this group that we have, this family that we have, this table that we have, this community that we have from the beginning until now. And it's something that is really commendable on so many levels. It really speaks volumes of you. Or we have seen good days, we've seen not so good days, but the consistency and the perseverance, the level of love you've put into this is really quite something that is a big motivating factor for me. Also on LinkedIn, where going through my job searches and job hunts, which I'm currently again going through one right now. It's just reassuring every time see I see the work that you do and the effort that you put. So I would like to just give you your flowers for now. This as I begin to give you your flowers. I am so happy to see so many familiar faces, new faces. I think that's indeed the story of the three stone the three stones our grandmothers used to cook with back in the day. We call them mafiga in Kiswahili. The three stones. Then you put the firewood below and you put the cooking stove on top, and the neighbors' kids would come, the next village kids would come, and we'd listen to grandma's stories, and it really gives that vibe. So thank you, Simon, for your dedication to the community and to this group, more so for your labor of love and passion for this. Now, as I go to the proverb, the same sand that melts wax is capable of hardening clay. I find it a very interesting proverb in the sense that I'm really not a very big fan of the sun. I live in Belgium. Now I'm currently visiting some family in Ireland. But one of the most weird things about me is I'm really not a big fan of the sun. And I remember looking for options of places to move around. I was looking for places which don't necessarily have extreme summers or very, very hot weathers. And sometimes, some years ago, just randomly thinking about it, I would have loved to have moved to Iceland, but the living costs were extreme for me. Only for me to discover that in Iceland, actually, there are days between, I think it's and May and June, where actually the sun doesn't set. So in short, there's no way of me avoiding the sun. And it reminds me of a story or a quote that I'd heard multiple times. And if you look at this in an analogical manner or an analogical train of thought, the sun, depending on how you look at it, can be a challenge or a storm that you want to avoid, and you make this plan, but you in the end cannot avoid it because everywhere you go in the world, one way or another, it's not always dark. And even periods of darkness, after that, the sun will come. Sometimes, like us from the equator, it will take its usual 12 hours a day. If you're the more northern or southern you go, it might take longer or shorter periods depending on the season. But one way or another, you cannot avoid the sun. But the choice is the experience and ways of dealing with this sun, or if you look at it in an analogical perspective, this challenge that you're having that you can't avoid. It can either make you strong or it can either make you weak. It can either melt you as a candle, or it can either harden you as clay. And that's what really resonates with me when I think of this proverb. The storm can't be avoided, whether I like it or not. It is indefinite that it will come either tomorrow, 2 weeks time, 2 weeks time, tonight, right now. The storm can't be avoided, and that's the thing that I try to understand in my life, and I would like all of you to understand. The challenge, you can't live a life without challenges. It has to come small, big, or whatever the size are. But at the end of the process, how did you maneuver? How did you learn, or what did you learn from the process of being under the sun? What were the strategies that you copied by? At the end, doing our own self-evaluation, did it melt you did it melt you as it melts wax, or did it harden you as the sun has the possibility of hardening earth and clay pots? And for me, this is more of a clarion call. Even through the challenges, doing a self-review, there will be times I do understand I will be hardened, just like the way the sun hardens the clay. But there will be times also I will be melted. But what strategies do I come from that? What active choices am I making to be sure that I will become the clay that will be hardened instead of um, the wax that will be softened? Again, in an analogical perspective, this can be vice versa also. Some people may look at the softening of clay, so the softening of a wax as something good, and the hardening of clay as something bad, depending on how it is. The problem or the opportunity, depending on how you look at it, which is the sun, cannot be avoided. How do you deal with situations that are unavoidable? Do you allow them to break you, or do you allow them to mend you or contribute into the journey of who you are? And I really think this is a beautiful proverb. Thank you very much to my Nigerian brothers and sisters for this, and my Nigerian ancestors. I believe we all came from as a Bantu, full Bantu. I'm sure my ancestors was years and thousands of years ago, or somewhere probably in Nigeria before they moved all the way to the east. So I do consider them my brothers and sisters. So thank you very much to our ancestors for this proverb. And one more thank you to Simon again for the consistency, the discipline, and the perseverance and the labor of love that you pour um, into this group from the beginning. I have seen this group filled with thousands of people, hundreds of people, two people, sometimes less people, or and despite all of that, you still choose to labor for this group. It's as I said, this is something that really inspires and motivates me, and that's all I will have to say for now. See you soon when I'm done with my job hunts and as a adulting business as I try to survive this new phases of my life of adulting. Hopefully, I will have more time to contribute as before into the group, into the family. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Happily, I'm very proud of you, and I am confident that, there's a great job that is ready for you. Just keep going, and everything is going to be great. I want to welcome everyone who is just joining us. This is the Daily African Proverbs, and we do this Monday to Friday, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's 4 p.m. East African Time. And we have beautiful conversations grounded on African proverbs. And we bring these proverbs, we dissect them, we gain wisdom from these proverbs. So I hope that you noted some of the things that Happily shared. And earlier we also heard from Rushi. And now we want to continue on to Stella. But before we go there, I just want to invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. The link is at the top of the Clubhouse room. And if you have already subscribed to the channel, make sure you share it with your community and you push the thumbs up button on this particular video so that, I know that you really appreciated this today's production. Stella, how are you doing today? Where are you joining us from? And when you hear this amazing Nigerian proverb that says the same sun that melts wax is also capable of hardening clay, what is it that comes to your mind?
Thank you, Simon. Hi, everyone. This is Stella from Kenya, and today's proverb is just reminding us how powerful the sun is. And it's funny because at some point today, I was telling Google to tell me something interesting, and Google was like, the sun is 4.6 billion years old. and how boring the earth would be if the sun was not there. And I kept reading on and on and on, and it was funny, but at the same time, it was making sense. Yeah, so the Proverbs is reminding us of how powerful the sun is. And again, it relates to so many sayings, even the savage ones. Like there's a common saying in Kenya social media streets that says that hakuna mkate ngumu mbele ya chai, which simply means there is no hard bread in front of tea. Once you put bread inside tea, it will soften. So it relates to this proverb that says the sun can harden clay and at the same time it can soften wax. And I think when this proverb was being spoken by our ancestors, they were like warning us or warning someone who was not humble enough or someone who was disrespectful that they should just be humble because life humbles you anyway at some point. Yeah, so that's what the proverb is reminding me of, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you again, Stella. That's a really incredible contribution. And I love what Google had to tell you about the sun. I had no idea that the sun has been around for that long, and also I love how you bring to our attention that this was a warning. This was a warning that, similar to also what Happily was saying, something is there's going to be transformation whether you like it or not. So prepare for it, prepare to be hardened or softened. I love that. I want to welcome Akanji. Thank you for joining us. Please share with us your interpretation of this proverb. Let us know where you are joining us from. Today's proverb is from Nigeria. It says, the same sun that melts wax is also capable of hardening clay. The microphone is yours.
Salute, brother Simon. I want to appreciate everyone in the room. I come bearing greetings. I pay obeisance to the Creator and to our ancestors. This is my second time in this room. I listened in sometime last week, and I thought it was very therapeutic to hear people speak so kindly, so calmly. So I'd like to appreciate you, Brother Simon, for putting this together. My prayer is that the Almighty Creator will continue to help you to build this. I'm speaking from the Republic of Ireland. That's where I live, but I am a Yoruba man. The Yorubas are natives of West Africa. In that country you describe as Nigeria. I wouldn't necessarily identify myself as a Nigerian, but I would spare you the rhetorics of why that is the case. I'm a Yoruba man. I'm an African man, and so that is what it is. In terms of the proverb, the power of sun to melt wax. Hello, I don't know if you can still hear me. I feel
Yes,
like
I hear you very well, my brother Akanji, and I would love to host you in the future to deepen my understanding of why you don't identify as Nigerian. And I know that there are
sure.
many Africans.
I can give you a mini sketch version of why that is
Yes,
the case.
yes.
Fundamentally, the identity called Nigeria is derogatory. It was the country itself was surnamed by the British, formed from two words. Niger area. That's where Nigeria is from. So every time you call someone a Nigerian, you're literally using the expletive of a nigger to describe them. That is unacceptable. No proud African should continue to hold on to the identity assigned to them by the oppressors. So that's the miniskirt version. Hopefully we can unpack that sometime in the future. But yeah, hopefully that makes sense as well. But let me say unequivocally that I come in peace. I'm not here as an agitator. I'm here to just listen to the wisdom. But we're talking about, sorry, before I proceed forward or further, brother Simon, is that submission on my
It's
reason for not,
it's
is it clear?
incredible. It's incredible, and I can completely relate with it. I am from Kenya originally, and now I will be introducing myself as a Luo man from around Lake Victoria. Well, I should not even say Lake Victoria, from Namlolwe,
That's
because
right.
really, these are names that were given to our lands. The Luo nation is a nation. The
Correct.
Yoruba nation is a nation. And so understanding the origins of the names of our countries is so important. And you are not an agitator, you are an educator. So carry on.
Thank you, Brother Simon. I just see one of my fellow compatriots downstairs there. You may want to bring him up. His name is Femi. We're from the same tribe. Anyway, we're talking about the power of the sun to to melt wax and to solidify clay. I'd want to come at this by introducing a similar proverb within the Yoruba extraction, which is, I'll say what it is and I will interpret. Say, "Ta ban sunkún, ó yẹ ká ríran." What that means is, when we are crying, we use our eyes to cry. But when we are crying, we shouldn't stop seeing as well, right? So it's fine to be broken, to feel discouraged. That's fine, but that is not the be all to it, right? So it's you have to understand as a person that challenges will come, and life is not really black and white. It's a spectrum, and within the Yoruba spirituality is a principle called the tibitire, the good and the evil construct. Now, that is not exactly as the Chinese yin and yang, which is the duality proposition. The Tibitire, the good and bad construct in the Yoruba philosophy is really about complementarity. It's the appreciation that both good and evil serve a purpose. And you can't change the sun. You just have to dial along the range that is available to you. So what the proverb really is saying is, choose carefully your action. Choices create consequences. Choose to be either clay or choose to be either wax. You can't change the sun. Don't try to. All right. The sun will remain constant like the true northern star. Okay. It's your responsibility, my responsibility, and your responsibility, our collective responsibility, to vary along the lines of the situation. So context matters, and the choices that we make has to be predicated on the reality that we are presented with, so that we can make sure we're not uh, suffering negative consequences to our own detriment. I'm just going to take a pause. I don't want to hog the microphone for long, but thank you for the opportunity to speak. And I say, Ire, which means goodness to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I deeply appreciate you, Brother Akanji, for educating us that even though we are crying, we should still see. We should still use our eyes to see. I appreciate you. I can't wait to hear from Femi. But for now, I want to go to Lavender, then Austin, then Kay, then Fred, and then Femi is going to close out our conversation today. Lavender, how are you? Where are you joining us from? And what does today's proverb mean to you? The same sand that melts wax is also capable of hardening clay. Okay, Lavender, if you're there, we would love to hear from you. If you're not available, we will move on to Austin for now. Okay, I can't hear you, so there has to be something that is going on with your microphone. So we will move to Austin for now. Austin, how are you doing today? Where are you joining us from?
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Carry on. Thank you. We heard you for just a second and then you muted yourself.
Should I?
Oh, are you on the move?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, I'm on the move. Oh, thank you. This Proverbs, just like Akanji mentioned, means a lot of things. But what comes to mind is that all that glitters is not gold. But then again, you can be handed something good. You can be blessed with something good, a talent, or might be wealth. But the way you handle it, is the way it will treat you. So when you handle it well, it will grow. But when you handle it badly, it will be the end of you. Thank you so much, Simon. I'm Lavender. I'm speaking from Nairobi, Kenya. Thank you so much.
Beautiful. Thank you again, Lavender, for your contribution. Austin, I'll pass you the microphone so that you can also share with us your contribution.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much, Simon. My name is Austin. I am a Luo man, just like my brother Simon said. I am a Luo man from Namlolwe. That is the Lake Victoria in Kenya. And apparently today's proverb is actually very new to me. I did not have any idea about this. But I looked it up. I did a very quick Google search and came upon this. The same sun that melts, that hardens clay, or that melts wax, hardens the clay. Well, from what I got from my search is that how is it that two people with equal opportunities in life, same trial and tribulations, them a winner and the other emerges a loser. Sorry to use those two words. What I mean to say is one becomes better. Well, I don't really have much to add on to this, but as Stella mentioned the powers of the sun, and Akanji mentioned the realities that we are presented with in life. I believe that, like the sun, when the sun shines, it shines freely, and everyone is able to access the benefits that the sun brings. But when you look at it from this point of perspective, this is an opportunity given to everyone. So what you do with this opportunity, what you do with these chances, what you do with these realities that have been presented to you is what defines is what makes you become better or better. So in life, the opportunities you get, we have to seize these chances to make ourselves better. Sorry, Simon, I won't talk much. I am currently coming down with a cold. I really miss the sun. I am currently in Nairobi and it is very cold. I've not seen the sun for a whole week now. And Stella said the powers of the sun. Well, I am really feeling the effects of not seeing the sun. So thank you very much, Simon. I yield.
Thank you, Austin. I hope that the sun will hear you and the sun will come to your rescue. And I also hope that you feel better soon. Deeply appreciate your contribution. Kay, share with us where you're joining us from and also your contribution in regards to today's proverb. The same sun that melts wax is also capable of hardening clay.
Hello, everyone. I'm talking to you from, I'm on Abenakis land in commonly called Vermont. And I like to call sun soul, S-O-L, solar power soul. So soul is a resource, very powerful resource that has an extreme margin of uses. It's the proverb is warning to acknowledge the benefits and the dangers of the soul, with a reminder that some benefits or dangers that are possible may not have been thought of before. This proverb is reminding us to have an open mind and to enhance discovery or awareness of possibilities. And I really liked the reminder that I think was it Lavender or Stella who remind us that all that glitters is not gold. I like that saying too. And thank y'all.
Thank you so much, Kay, for your incredible contribution. I appreciate it. Fred, what are your thoughts on this proverb? The same sun that melts wax is also capable of hardening clay.
Thanks for the opportunity to speak on this. Greetings to everybody in the room. It's a very interesting proverb, and the line of thought that each speaker has shared continues to expand my understanding of the proverb. First off, the sun speaks of a source of energy, a source of livelihood, a source of knowledge. Specifically, it speaks to me of a knowledge source. And the kind of knowledge that we ascribe to can either make us wax, melt us, or toughen us to be clay. But then when you're melted, it doesn't mean you're weak. No, it speaks of your ability to adapt, to be fluid, and to change. Because the wax doesn't stay liquid, it comes back to be solid. And if your knowledge system also makes you toughen like a clay, that doesn't mean you're strong, because a little strike can break it. But then when water is added, you can build it back up again. So the sun here represents specifically a knowledge system that can either make you adaptable, fluid, strong, or more. And why I said the things that were mentioned by earlier speaker, when you put Nigeria in context, like someone said earlier, there are varied knowledge systems around the formation of the word Nigeria. And when you ascribe to the one that is the meaning, that can either make you or break you. It can contribute to the destruction of an identity. Or when you ascribe it to a different knowledge system that speaks of the origin of the word nigger as a variation of a word that meant king back in ancient times, that can also construct the identity, strengthen your personhood, or destroy it. So there's a varied application of the same knowledge system, the same source of energy, which is essential to what makes us individuals or creates our personality. But the one we ascribe to can either strengthen us or can weaken us. And I think it goes a long way. It goes a long, long way. And this can be dissected more when you put different variables of historical events and historical narratives that have gone on, specifically when it comes to Nigeria. But now, as a person, I say it's a reminder of what makes us or what can make us to be who we are. Thanks for the opportunity.
Wonderful. Thank you again for your contribution, Fred. Let's move on to Femi. Femi, share with us where you're joining us from, what today's proverb means to you, and that's going to be our last speaker on the stage today. Thank you again for being here. If Femi is not available now, we will come back to you in a moment. And also, if you're just joining us, this is the Daily African Proverbs. This conversation is being recorded for the African Father in America podcast, which is available across all podcasting platforms. So if you missed the beginning of this conversation, you can catch it across all podcasting platforms, including YouTube. When you do, earlier on in the conversation, in the first 3 minutes, I shared our 3 takeaways from today's episode. So if you want to catch those, the best way is to listen to the replay on Clubhouse or the podcast. But I want to just recognize, Sinead and S and Jamal and Mamei and Nikita, of course, Roger and MK and Sarah. I see that Femi is here. So Femi, I'll give you space to share your perspectives as we wrap up our conversation today. Thank you so much.
I'm so sorry, Simon. Did you call me at the time?
I just called you Femi. So if you have time,
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, cause sorry, I'm at work, so I had to reduce the volume for like 2 minutes. I was attending to something.
No problem.
Yeah, so that was why I was wondering if I missed you or calling already. Yeah. Anyways, really nice to be here. Wonderful words of wisdom. Thank you, Alagba Akonji, for for the recognition. Actually, Simon, I'm always in the room, but I'm always down there. I'm just always listening. Yeah. I think I would end. I would talk about this particular proverb. I'm a very big language fan, so I would end it with Ile Oba Tojo Ewa Lobusi. What it means in English is when a king's palace burns down, the rebuilt palace turns out to be much more beautiful. And this is in particular with the fact that a lot of African languages are disappearing. But then at the same time, a lot of people are waking up. At least I definitely know that the embrace the Yoruba people have had towards Yoruba language in the last 2-3 years have been super amazing. So it's kind of like we're having a rebuild. One apple free. Yes, thanks. So it's kind of like we're having a rebuild, and the rebuild is definitely going to be much more better than what we had. I don't know if it makes sense, but that just came to my mind. Yeah, thank you to everyone. Yeah, cheers.
Hey Femi, could you repeat the quote that you just said in Yoruba? I just love it, and I want to make sure I can say it too.
Yeah, Ile Oba Tojo Ewa Lobusi. I can write it in the chart.
Yeah, Elia Butuju
Ewa Lobusi.
Ewa Lubusi.
Awesome.
Man,
Awesome.
I love African languages, and I love trying, you know, instead of learning Chinese, what if you learned Yoruba instead, because as the continent opens up, business is going to be within the continent, and also even within the diaspora. If you are engaging, for example, here in Seattle, right now I am producing the biggest African festival in the west coast of the US. It's called Madaraka Festival. And 50% of the acts that are going to be on stage are from Nigeria. If I knew a little bit of Yoruba and a little bit of the Nigerian languages, I'm sure I would enjoy engaging some of these artists. So make sure you DM me this quote, DM me this quote on Instagram so that I can brag a little bit with it. Anyway, I'm just grateful. This has been an educational 1 hour for me personally, and it's very similar to every episode that we have here for the Daily African Proverbs. And I really want to encourage you all to connect with Stella and Lavender, who are on the stage. They're part of the One Vibe team that helped me make this possible. And if you want to be a guest, I'm looking for guests that we can host here for the Daily African Proverbs. Please reach out to them as well. And tomorrow we will be doing this again, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I just deeply, deeply appreciate you all for taking the time and for helping make this happen. With that, we've come to the tail end of our conversation today, and I hope that you continue taking good care of yourselves until we meet again. Peace and love.
African father in America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Africa, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze.
You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan Okelo, live from Seattle, Washington, USA.